In Phoenix, Frank Vogel got fired, and he's got a title, and he got fired. So KD is kind of running out of coaches here. It will be the second straight coach because they're going to hire Mike Budenholzer. So Vogel had a title. It didn't work with KD. Let's see if Budenholzer works with KD because he got a title too. So it's interesting. Over the last 5 years, listen to this, J-Mac. Over the last 5 years, KD has been swept in the playoffs more than winning a series in the playoffs. That's bad. So I think if you look at KD's career, there is a clear line. There's the first 12 years, Seattle briefly, OKC, and the Warriors. And that's titles, and that's toe-to-toe with LeBron as the best player in the world. And then there's the last 4. He's just a guy that scores 27, 28. He's just a scorer. And I think it all comes down to one decision, is that he bailed on Steve Kerr and Steph Curry. And he has never found his next star and his next coach. So coaching does matter in the NBA, and co-stars matter. And when he left Golden State, I didn't want to hear about wandering. I didn't want to hear about, he's a different cat. You don't leave Mahomes and Andy Reid if you're a wide receiver. Tyreek Hill is making a lot of catches. Let's be honest, they're just not relevant. Kansas City remains relevant. Reid, Mahomes are winning without him. And so I think when Tyreek left, there was a lot of this, hey, he's getting his. Be very careful. And even more so in the NBA. Because, people often say coaching is sort of nebulous. I mean, what is it? We all know coaching in football matters a lot. High school, college, pro. In basketball, it matters some. Vogel got fired. There's a lot of, discussion about the defense was too complicated. Beal didn't buy in. Booker whatever it is. But I think when you look at Kevin's career, there is now an absolute line with it. He was a toe-to-toe all-timer, and now he just scores. And Nick Wright talked about it this week.
The fact that Kevin Durant is going to go through this half-decade of his career not seeing a conference finals, when the first decade of his career he lived in the conference and NBA finals, is bizarre. And when you put pen to paper, if you are talking all of NBA history, Kevin Durant is far closer to 20 than to 10, which 5 years ago would have been unfathomable.
Yeah, he was, I mean, there were a lot of people arguing when he was winning MVP in the finals, he was better than LeBron. I didn't buy it. I thought he was second, clearly, maybe third, but that was the discussion. It would be like if Josh Allen just became a guy that, threw for touchdown. Like, we've had this kind of Allen's the greater all-time talent, Mahomes is great winning, but it's always been like, well, I mean, if the next 4 years you're like, yeah, Josh Allen, they get loosed in the first round of the playoffs, you'd be like, oh, what happened? That's not good. So it's like you think these things are cemented, but if Brady, if Brady didn't have that second. What really defined Tom Brady wasn't the first run, because it was thought of as Belichick and defense, and he didn't win with Randy Moss and Wes Welker. What really defined Brady was the tail end of his career, which has not gone well for KD. It's souring his legacy. If you look at Tom, if he'd have retired, like normal guys do at like 38 or something, you wouldn't have gotten that second big chunk in New England and in Tampa, or whatever, how old he was, 35, whatever it was. The first Super Bowls and the Moss years when he was breaking records, he would have just been a guy that was, hey, got a couple Super Bowls, hell of a year with Moss. What defined him was the end of his career. It's the Tampa year that really was the exclamation point on this guy's probably the GOAT. Oh, he was a Tampa and wins. He is the GOAT. You can't even talk, that's the GOAT. So you think that your legacy is cemented. Well, I mean, a guy, Kevin Durant, if Kevin plays 4 more years and it looks like this, it really becomes, Steph Curry really is the only time he won. So the idea that it's cemented, no, LeBron's is cemented. But KD's wasn't. What if he plays 4 more years, which is reasonable, and it's just more of this stuff? Budenholzer doesn't work. Phoenix gets knocked out by better Minnesota, OKC, Denver. You look at it and you're like, he's a guy. He scored a lot. If you don't know what usage rate is in the NBA, you're a casual. It means how often do you have a ball in your hands. And I've said this about certain players in the NBA. When Luka came out, I said, I see Melo and James Harden. His usage rate is way too high. He'll be exhausted by the end of the season. And he's a bucket getter, but I don't know if he's ever going to be a trophy holder. I was right on Melo from the first day. I got nothing but pushback from fanboy media and fans, but I was right. Melo never was compatible with other players. The guy got insecure about Linsanity. And Luka now is on his 3rd attempt at a teammate. And so Luka's usage rate all season, outrageously high, 36%. Last night it was 24, and they won. In fact, this is interesting. This is what I banged on Harden for. He's a combination of Harden and Melo. Are you really going to get him in shape? Is he really going to defend? It's my knock on Melo, my knock on Luka. Is he in great shape? Is he going to defend or just get a bucket getter? Or is he going to be Harden, where he get you buckets, a lot of buckets, but he's worn down by the time the playoffs get there? This year, the Mavs, when Luka had a more reasonable usage rate, under 30%, they were 8-0. Daddy was right. Uncle Colin nailed it. He's got the ball too much. He's a combination of Melo and Harden. But I will say he is defending this year. Not sure he wanted to. He may have had to because the league swallowed the whistles at the All-Star break. And I'm not skeptical of Luka's talent. They won last night. I'm skeptical of his compatibility. Because as selfish as MJ and Kobe could be, eventually they could get along with a Pippen and a Kerr and a Gasol and a Shaq. Kareem, LeBron, the trophy guys. The MJ, Magic, Bird, trophy guys. They could be selfish, but they were ultimately compatible at some point. That's been Harden's issue. That is Melo's issue. And now Luke is on his 3rd teammate. And again, he's better on defense, but at some point you have to be, because the league has just said, we're going to let guys play. So, he's a big body. You can lean on people now and get the break. So I think what happens is, and we do this all the time, people come into the league and they're very highly skilled offensively, a Melo, a Harden, or a Luka, and people just got hypnotized by the style and the points and the bucket getters. But do you want to be a trophy guy or just a bucket getter? Because that's all Melo, and he's one of the all-time great scorers. That's what Harden is. Luka, to me, is better than that.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.